The Supreme Court is deciding on a case that tests the power of the Voting Rights Act. And yesterday, an attorney for Arizona's Republican Party admitted on the record that one voting restriction would specifically help the GOP. Federal courts do not allow cameras, so take a listen to Justice Amy Coney Barrett yesterday asking a question to the lawyer for the Arizona Republican Party.
What's the interest of the Arizona RNC here in keeping, say, the out-of-precinct ballot disqualification rules on the books?
Because it puts us at a competitive disadvantage relative to Democrats. Politics is a zero-sum game.
NBCNews.com reporter Jane Timm joins us now. Jane, again, that was a lawyer for the Arizona Republican Party who's supposed to be making a legal argument, but that sounds more political than anything. But that nuance there might be missed by some people. Walk us through that, and what has the reaction been?
Absolutely. So Judge Barrett was talking about standing, sort of why the RNC has a legal right to be in here arguing this case. But I think it really gets to what a lot of Democrats and advocates have been saying for years, that in the absence of voter fraud, what is this big fuss about voter integrity? Is it just about winning elections? Because if you can chew off 1,000 voters here and 1,000 voters there, we see in our increasingly close races, particularly in states like Arizona that are battlegrounds, that could make the difference. And he goes on to say it's the difference between 49-50 and 51-50. You know, I mean, he's talking about really close races where cutting off a couple votes can make a big difference. Now, if this sounds sort of like, of course, Republicans want to add extra restrictions because they want to win more races, and you sound kind of jaded, remember that restrictions affect minorities, students, the poor, and much harder and much more they hurt those voters from casting ballots more strictly than they do to everybody else. These can be discriminatory.
Now, the Brennan Center for Justice has been looking at voting bills in all states. They found more than 250 bills with provisions that restrict voting access, but more than 700 bills that expand voting access. How do these Supreme Court arguments compare to what's happening across the country?
Yeah, voting rights advocates are really worried about seeing Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, really all they have in sort of federal law to keep fighting discriminatory voting laws at the Supreme Court right now. Because as you said, there's this huge assault on efforts to sort of push down voting rights and to make it harder to vote in a lot of states. And we talked about, there's a lot more bills that want to expand access. But what matters is that the majority of state legislatures are controlled by Republicans. So while Democrats may be introducing a whole bunch of laws to make it easier to vote, it's the Republican laws, the restrictive laws that we need to actually worry about and look at here.
Jane Timm, thank you so much.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.